St. Paul used the Roman roads to go out and evangelize, as did the other apostles. We're using the new Roman roads, which are, it's media, it's the internet, it's social media, it's all these different components. We have to be able to reach people where they are and where they're meeting. If we don't take the church to the people, people are not going to come to the church. You know, it's a really big question. I mean, what is the role of media in evangelization? And I think some people get nervous about it. You know, what's the first thing John Paul II said when he stepped out on the balcony? Be not afraid, right? And when he talked about the new evangelization, he was talking about using the new means to communicate long-standing truths. John Paul II also had that, he reminded us we should be in the culture, but not of the culture, which are two different things, right? So we need to know how people are living life. What is their life? What are the ideas that are impacting them? If we don't know that, we can't even begin to evangelize. Some of the most effective forms of media are really a lot of the online avenues. I look to our own platform, formed.org, and it's becoming kind of a Catholic hub, a Catholic Netflix. We're partnering with other groups. We're offering content in Spanish and in English. I think that social media is becoming very effective, and it's wonderful because it bypasses a narrative that Catholics don't have a voice or don't have a particular voice. Social media is allowing for an authentic diversity in the public dialogue, in the public square, right? So anybody can jump into that conversation. And I think it's wonderful. We're seeing, well-formed lay people being part of that conversation. We're seeing our clergy and our religious being part of that conversation. All these different voices being united around one truth and yet able to articulate that to so many different audiences. I was just talking with one of my students, a former student, who is a high school teacher, very dynamic high school teacher, and so he brings in the media, he brings in what kids are watching, and because even if it's a story that kind of colors outside of the lines, usually there's something fundamental about human nature. You can use anything as a teachable moment. Rather than telling your kids you can't watch this, especially when kids are of a certain age, why don't you sit down and watch it with them? It works as a great way to teach morality. I'm a moral theologian. I know that I can get up and tell everybody what the Ten Commandments are and tell them they can't do this, they can't do that, right? And who cares? I know that if I sit down with somebody and we talk about a story, then that becomes the third party. And so particularly in families, parents sitting down to watch something with their children that is questionable, that is provocative, the parent becomes the guide, and there's a conversation, and the child can enter into that conversation, and the conversation is about this third party, this movie, this book, this TV show that's questionable, rather than talking to the child about their particular behavior. There's something outside, and I think that facilitates the conversation.